Partly because there's so many songs. Partly because, I don't want to say I don't see a point because like I don't like Colors, even though Colors is a good.
Oh, it's on the YouTube channel. Color. Oh wait, what are you talking about? Color.
Yeah, favorite song. No, I was just saying I kind of
Oh, like favorite colors.
Yeah.
I got you.
But songs, there's a lot of things that go into a song, so I can understand how something can be a favorite song. So I guess in my lifetime, Jodeci Cry For You. I think just because of N and then Blackstreet.
How does Jodeci Cry For You end?
Baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, baby.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know, for some reason that when I was younger, that was more in my head than the actual song. And it just was like, oh, this just brings back memories when I was younger.
There's another song I like. You just made me think. I really like the ending of it. I can't think of what it is though.
You have to let me know later.
I probably won't. I probably won't figure it out.
But you were talking. What were we talking about? Like right before.
Oh, welcome to another episode of The Big and Short.
Hey guys.
We were just talking about favorite songs. If you have a favorite song, let us know. I was saying, because we were sitting here watching the DJ, and I was saying I feel like, this just depends on what you believe. I believe in God, whatever. I was sitting there thinking that when God was creating people, I feel like he had, how painters had like a little paint palette thing?
Paint palette, yeah.
And so it was kind of like, he gave everybody unique certain things, but it was like, I only got 3 of these left. I'm gonna start mixing and it's like he only had a certain amount of material. And he just kind of just rearranged it. It's like I got these 5 shirts and these 6 pants, but I can make so many different outfits out of these 5 shirts and 6 pants. Yeah, and they all got the same. It's all the same stuff.
And it's so interesting that I don't want to say that you got to say, but you brought the art aspect to it because when I was drawing in high school, rappers was a thing that I was drawing, but I was sitting there like facial features. You only have so many different attributes. So you got eyes, nose, mouth, eyebrows, and that's pretty much it. And it's so crazy that you have so few characteristics of a face. I mean, if you want to go deeper, cheekbones, blah blah blah, but so few features. Just you have so many different faces, and not a lot of them looking like. And sure, you may have some. Obviously, if you want to exclude twins, because that's on purpose. But for the most part, almost everybody don't look the same, and it's so crazy that eyes, nose, mouth. It's just so weird to me. Like when you think about it.
But how do you explain like people when they see like okay? I'm sure you maybe you've heard it or maybe you haven't. But when people met your daughter and it's like, oh, you got your father's eyes or you got your mother's smile.
Yeah, but for the most part, I mean, she while you can see parts of me or parts of her mom in her, she has a completely different face.
True.
So it's just amazing to me. Just like, fingerprints. I don't want to say I don't believe all fingerprints are
You think everybody got their own fingerprint?
Sure. I haven't seen it, but I'm just going to, I have to believe it. It's not like I'm a forensic psychologist. It's not forensic scientist. Psychologist.
A psychologist who dabbles in forensics? That's a hit show, James. I would watch that.
I feel like, when you think about it, it's probably, people that shows us, like people that, the ghost hunters, like the Sixth Sense and stuff like that. But, just thinking about it on a basic level, just talking to a dead corpse. So how'd you feel when you were killed? Do you plan on rising up and getting revenge at any point?
I would watch. What would be the name of it? It's the first thing that comes to your mind.
Stories from the Grave, but that's
that's a nice name.
And then I was thinking about the Halo reference, but from the Grave. I don't remember what the
Stories from Beyond.
Yeah, that works too. But that's
supernatural emotions.
Okay.
Well, because forensics isn't really supernatural. so can't say that.
Yeah, I was thinking you go on more of the ghost.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. I don't know.
I think cutting off the air was a bad idea.
You got hot, you got hot that quick, James?
Yeah. It's
hey, it kicked in like that.
It don't take much for me.
You want to cut it back over?
Yeah, but then we don't have mics on today, so
No, we don't. As I say, and I don't know how loud that's gonna be.
I'm just have to. I'm gonna take it.
All right, it's up to you, Jay. I know I asked this question. I just forgot it just that quick. No, I forgot it just that quick.
Did it have to do with air or?
No. I was gonna ask you and Dexter this question without asking you.
Okay.
Has there ever? Okay, I gotta build the background.
Okay.
The bones of it. So, in times of intimacy, right? Mm-hmm. Are you a person that uses music? Like, do you turn on music? Or is it just like if there's music on in the background, like? So
I used to. I remember when I was younger, I just wanted everything to be romantic. I was a real romantic when I was younger. And then of course, my views have changed, but I'd like to get back. But music isn't necessarily important.
You don't have to have it.
Yeah, and then of course, that one girl who said she didn't like R&B, but she liked. Yeah,
the reason I'm asking because I feel like you're probably the wrong person to ask this.
Definitely.
Based on what I remember, because I remember you being the type of person who would put together a playlist.
Yes.
I guess I'm more so thinking about like for instance, okay, just put on music on YouTube or whatever, right? Because my question is like, has there ever been a time where like you just had on random music while you were being intimate? And then like a gospel song came on. Like, how did you feel?
Oh, well, that is something. I mean, there's been plenty of times where a song came on and I was like, I'm going to turn from this. Whether it be like me and the person is going through something and it's just like, oh, I can't stand you and something. There's been times.
Okay. Now, I get that. I was more so talking about, I guess not talking about, I'm thinking about that type of situation because I've had that happen before where like, like it was like an impromptu thing, or let's say I was already listening to music, and how YouTube just autoplays certain stuff, and it'd be like, oh man, it's a nice little sexy song, and you can start feeling a little something, and then you get into the mood, and then next thing you know, it's like melodies from. Oh, come on, man, I can't do nothing with that.
Well, you can think of it in a different way that this union was ordained. No,
that's how.
Yeah, I mean that's one way to look at it.
But ordained for what though?
I know. I'm trying to make it work.
You trying to say that we're ordained to be together forever, or God destined us to get together to have intimacy together?
It doesn't work.
I'll try to help you out, man. I'll try to help you out. Let me ask you this question, James. So. I know we're gonna do a video about our review on Deadpool.
Yes.
But before that, one thing we can talk about, and I know this is probably gonna be hard for you.
I was gonna say we can do a spoiler free now, and then do spoiler later.
We can do that. So this kind of leads me to that then. So before doing the spoiler free, before going into it, what would you say were your, not expectations, but what did your preconceived, like, what did you have any thoughts about what you were about to see, or was it just you were just going to wait and see what they gave you?
I had plenty of thoughts. So obviously Deadpool 1, great movie, everybody loves it. And, Deadpool 2, I will go as far as to say that I really did not like it. And so I figured, if you just take it from that, this movie can go either way. Either this could be a redemption, just like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was, or, it can continue to go downhill and then it probably just progressively gets worse. So there were other things that came into it. You hear things about, cameos. I'm sure and then I don't know if the trailers necessarily had cameos, but I know in the third trailer they do have
They had a few. There's quite a few because they showed all the people in the background
Yep.
and then
Pyro and Sabretooth.
Sabretooth.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody, you should know that there's at least cameos. So the fact that hearing about the cameos, and then Disney kind of not putting out very good products lately. I mean, they had hits every now and then. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So to be honest, I did not have the highest expectations for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that to answer your question.
Okay. As far as I guess I give mine before the spoiler free. As far as like expectations, honestly, I didn't have any. I really liked Deadpool 1. Deadpool 2, I would say I liked 75 to 80% of it. Probably liked it more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
But I still liked it less than the first one. But as far as like, I had no expectation. I was like, I'm just gonna see what happens. Like, I already knew it was gonna be cameos, but then again, when you find out it's gonna be a Deadpool in the MCU, I expected it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what other movie can you really do that with besides Deadpool? And then, of course, when you see the trailer, you see they're gonna be in the void. Oh, that's a cameo fest waiting to happen. So I knew it was coming. So I didn't really care. But then again, cameos don't really they don't take me out of it as long as they're done in a certain way. So I mean, as opposed to like, hey, this is random guy over there, and you turn away from him for 5 seconds. All right, cool. I don't like that, but we'll whatever. But it's
I was gonna say, but it doesn't have to be. Just because you have Deadpool, somebody coming from a different universe coming over into the MCU, it doesn't have to be cameos. I think cameos are kind of a newer thing when they started doing the multiverse thing.
Mm-hmm.
So before then, they didn't necessarily have cameos. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is during the multiverse era, and they don't have cameos. And I'm not saying that it was the greatest movie, but I think most of us would say that it's one of the better movies after Endgame. So if Deadpool, and I guess we're getting into kind of a spoiler free, but I think Deadpool could have, and I don't know if you would consider the TVA a cameo, because I don't think it's a cameo.
I would say they're part of the storylines, but given what happens in the movie,
exactly, I would classify a cameo as a character from a character that wouldn't normally be in the film.
Well, see, I based on that definition, I would say I would have a different. I would say it this way: I have a different definition of cameos.
Okay.
So, like for instance, to me, a cameo is a person who isn't a part of the movie or isn't who you would expect to be in the movie. He shows up for no reason. Mm-hmm. So, like for instance, in the Ghostbusters movie, not the Frozen Empire one, the one before that, when one of the Ghostbusters was working at the shop, he answers the phone. Or I take it back. He was like a taxi cab driver, and they get in his cab, and he's just like, "Oh, that's old buddy," and he pulls off. He does nothing else. Like that's a cameo.
Okay.
But if you bring in somebody who don't expect to be in the movie, and they actually do something that happens in the movie, or they do something to affect the movie in some way, to me that's not a cameo, because to me they're like a guest star character on a TV show, because they stuck around long enough to actually do something, as opposed to, hey, this person shows up and then they disappear.
And I mean, the guest star is kind of like an extended cameo. I mean, but I just, I guess that's splitting hairs at that point. But regardless of, I won't say the impact, because obviously impact has meaning, but fan service. Fan service is okay if it I would say if it contributes to the story. And I personally don't think that any fan service in this movie, besides obviously Wolverine, because that's kind of fan service. I don't think any fan service in this movie contributed to the story at all.
I'll say this to your earlier point. I don't disagree with you when you were saying that you don't have to have cameos. I don't disagree with that. However, also your same point, because you were saying it's been around since whatever, because I know cameos are coming. For me, it matters how they're used or how they're done. So like I don't disagree that you don't like. I'll say it this way. I'm not saying that you have to have cameos. Mm-hmm. My thing is because I know they're coming. It's all about how they're done. Like case in point, like I said, I'd rather have a cameo to where like that character actually does something as opposed to like, oh, that's just such and such. Like I don't want a whole bunch of Stan Lee's cameos walking around. Just people just walking around the background to where it's like I gotta go watch the movie 3-4 times just to even catch the person. Oh, who's that person? Yeah. As opposed to like, yeah, if they show up for whatever and they stick around for like 5-10 minutes, at least they were there long enough to do something and be pivotal. Maybe not pivotal, but like do something to push the story forward. I'll take that over just like, hey, that's that guy that we thought and then it's gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want that, but like, so I say what we got, I was happy with cameo wise.
But with the cameo we were just talking about, I did not feel like it was true to the original because in the original, the person was quippy and, was just like retorting and just firing off one-liners. And this person was just dull.
I have pushback, but my pushback is spoiler, so I'm gonna whatever. I will say my overall thought of the film would be that, like, yes, I enjoyed it. Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I loved it. Is it free of flaw? No. Is there a lot of stuff that I probably could have did without? Maybe not a lot, but is there stuff I could have did without? Yes. Was it the best story? It was all right. But I had a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
So there are, I've been listening to reviews, and there are people, mainly everybody, likes it. As generally how these things go with the fan service movies. And then you have a select few that, feel like this is... So I'm one of the ones that feel like this is the weaker of the three, which says a lot because I really didn't like Deadpool 2. When you and Dexter first asked me for like I didn't hesitate. I was like, I hated it. And I was like, all right. So it's very strong.
Hate is a strong word.
Yeah, and I don't want to go as far as to say I hated it, even though I really didn't like the movie. I would say, I laughed, but maybe 20-30% of the movie I genuinely enjoyed. The parts that stand out to me were when Wolverine got down on all fours, because I felt like, animal classic Wolverine. When he jumped through the window.
Which is the part that people haven't seen and don't know about.
Exactly. Well, I figured with a costume accurate that, people would understand that there's going to be a little bit more, but okay, I can.
Everybody doesn't know Wolverine like that.
I don't think that's worth taking out.
No, I'm just messing with you. That part, I really like that part.
When he jumped through the window like an animal, that part was, and then so Paradox, this is just I don't know if anybody. I actually enjoyed Paradox's acting the way maybe not at the end. But I enjoyed his character, the whole movie. I felt like he had not necessarily legitimate reasons for doing what he was doing, but it felt genuine. It felt like it felt the most realistic of the whole movie. And then last but not least, Hugh Jackman's acting. Not necessarily through the whole movie, but this one part when they were actually in the car. I know when it first came out, that there was rumors that this was going to be like a road trip kind of movie. So, a car is involved. Hey, who would have thought?
It's in the trailer.
Yeah. So there's one part where, Deadpool and Wolverine have a heart-to-heart, and Hugh Jackman acting is on full display. And I was like, holy crap. Does this movie deserve this? And not only that, it's like the way Deadpool reacted to it was like almost like he was in awe. And he didn't, he didn't break the fourth wall at the time, but just the pause. And I was like, they kind of emphasized how good it was. And I was like, I know I verbally said out loud something about the acting at that point, but
Oscar.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
There's a few strong acting moments to me that I like. I can't really get into right now, but I thought it was well acted throughout.
Okay.
But yeah, I like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, man.
I gave it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10? We're doing out of 10?
Sure.
If we're doing out of 10, I give it 7.5.
We gotta list these so I can see like what are you putting this on the level of?
Well, everything is different though. So like, because I can't speak for your grading scale, but with my grading scale, it varies depending upon the movie. So in other words, if I give this movie a 7 and this movie a 7, it doesn't automatically mean they're the same, because my 7 in this movie could be I like the acting, and then the acting and the music makes it a 7, but the action was all right. This one could be the action was great, the music was great, cinematography, whatever, 7. So it's just they're different. They're not equal.
Okay. We'll talk about. Well, I guess you haven't seen.
I do have a kind of a something I want to talk about, because I've watched, like you, I've watched some reviews of Deadpool Wolverine.
Okay.
And I've heard a few people, mention the whole fact of like, Marvel, not doing so well and making movies or being whatever. But like, while I get it, some of their last few movies haven't been received that great. Me personally, I wouldn't put them in a slump. This is just a comparison that I just thought about today. I would compare Marvel to this past year of Klay Thompson. So like Klay Thompson, his past season wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the best player this past season. However, his stats were still better than a good majority of the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, Marvel is kind of low right now because the last few movies haven't been received that well generally throughout the public. However, the money they're making on the movies that aren't that received well are still better than most movies that are coming out.
Well, money, one, it doesn't necessarily tell how good a movie is. That's just, off name recognition, Marvel, MCU. So people are going to come see the movies regardless. So I don't think money is a good indicator on how good the movie is. But Marvel, in general, sure, isn't necessarily doing bad. If they were, well, they...
But I'm saying, some people make it sound like Marvel was just in the trash.
As far as quality, I would say so. Like, I think people are comparing it to, pre-Phase 4, where most of the movies were good to, I don't want to say great. Yeah, let's say good to great. As opposed, and then like some duds here and there. And then after Season 4, it's like all the movies are mostly okay to bad, and then they have good or great movies here and there.
But that's my point. Like, while the movies and shows haven't been received that well, they're still not horrible things. It's just you said yourself, they're comparing them to previous great Marvel, content.
I don't know about that. I think they...
You just said that.
No. So I'm saying what I said was that the movies and stuff they're putting out now are okay to bad.
Yeah, but you said they compared them to like Phase 4 and stuff where they had good to great.
Not the actual movies. I'm saying that we're comparing... Okay, so the movies that they were putting out before were good to great.
Right.
The movies they're putting out now are okay to bad.
But
not comparing them to each other. I'm just saying that the hits and misses is what the comparisons are.
But what if what makes it a miss if you had so many hits? Is it a miss because it's not the hits like the ones you already had?
No, it's a miss because it's a bad movie.
But I'm saying, what about the movies are making them bad?
Just lack of quality if you want to just be general, but just
what about the quality is bad?
So storylines, cohesion. What's the word that they like to use?
Cohesion to what?
Themselves, like a lot of things. But Thor, Love and Thunder was not a very. It was all over the place. It was just not funny. It was just a bad movie. Nothing about it was good.
So the previous good to great movies connecting to these okay movies don't play a factor?
What do you mean connecting?
So because I hear what you're saying, but the overall senses that I generally hear when I look online is the okay movies and the movies that are just decent, they are that way because of they have no connection to other stuff. Because Marvel is built around everything attaching to everything. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't other factors outside of it, like, you know, acting or whatever. I'm talking about like the overall main thing that people usually talk about. It's like, oh, this character is not the same as that character from this other movie, or this didn't happen because of that. So it's kind of like for instance, okay, you had the Loki show, then you had other movies and stuff that come out after that. It's like, well, this has nothing to do with the Loki show, but the Loki show explains why this happens. So since that doesn't connect to it, it makes the whole movie just a waste of time.
So I think, and you know, this, I think we're having two different experiences online because of algorithms. So if you watch multiple of maybe this channel or this kind of channel, they tend to give you things that are kind of related to it. So this is just different channels, not just one. I'm saying, yeah. So everybody that I watch had, you know, you mentioned everybody talking about the connecting to everything, and everything I watch isn't necessarily, they like connecting to other things isn't and what they're upset about. Right. They're mainly what they're upset about is, and not all of them, but you know, the MCU. That's one of the things which
I don't factor that in.
I don't either. So I just think that it's just bad writing, not necessarily bad acting, but movies that just are wayward, that don't really go well within itself. It doesn't flow well. And just bad villains.
So answer me this then. What great villains did we have in the first part of the MCU?
So, what's the name? So Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes.
No, before Bucky.
So at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. What great villains did we have?
All right, so let me see. Iron Man 1.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say that he was. I'm just gonna give me a second. So I wouldn't say he was a bad villain.
I didn't say he's bad, but he was great.
Okay. So when did we start getting great villains? So definitely not Iron Man 2, not Thor 1, not Thor 2, not
Iron Man 3.
No, not Captain America 1. So I can't remember when we started, but obviously they got better. And obviously, you know, villains being great wasn't something that the MCU is necessarily known for. That's what I'm saying. But at least you had good movies to compensate for it. So while Iron Man, yes, Iron Man.
What's the most revered? Not revered. What's the term I'm looking for? Most praised MCU movie in the first phase outside of Iron Man.
So the first phase is probably only 4 movies. I don't. So probably Iron Man 2, Captain America, and Thor. So Iron Man 1, pretty much.
But all those stories made up for those bad villains, though.
No, but that's only 4 movies.
Right. But I'm saying, the point I'm making is, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you and other people are saying about the last few movies not being that well received, not being great quality. The point I'm making is the quality wasn't always that great.
Well, no, but they got their stride and then they lost it, which is why everybody's upset. They seemed to figure it out by the time Infinity War and Endgame happened.
But did they figure it out because they took the time to build up to a certain thing and then people finally came along? Or did they just actually get it together? Because like the movies didn't start, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, the movies didn't start getting better until the connectivity actually started to come together. Because I feel like a lot of people really got on board around Avengers 1. That's when but at that point, you had all these other movies that like a lot of people didn't like, whatever. And then when they finally started to see the connection coming together, that's when everybody's like, oh, They're doing good. So was the movies just getting better, or were people actually just starting to see the vision that they were planning from the beginning?
I think both can be true at the same time. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, obviously, you know, it's well documented that Iron Man was not. What's the word? It wasn't done.
Yeah, it was just like not a one-off, but
they were going playing it by ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they definitely had some growing pains and coming from. So I think Avengers kind of show what the potential could be, and obviously they didn't necessarily start making every movie have to connect like they do now. Even though, so like Iron Man 2, you know, they had Natasha Black Widow, but she didn't come from anything else. So just because I don't think the connectivity is what caused the movies to be good. I just think that they just both coincided with each other.
I'll say it this way. Maybe I shouldn't say it caused them to be good. It enhanced it. Because if you look back at the Avengers 1 movie, was that story really that great?
I don't see a problem with it.
But I'm saying, like, okay, let me say it this way. When people, you know, talk about Avengers 1, do they talk about the team up, or do they talk about the actual story?
I don't hear anybody. I mean, the movie is a team up, but I don't really hear people like saying the team up is the part of the movie, like the best part of the movie.
I'm not saying best part, but like when people talk about it, their highlights are camera shot, the fight scenes, such as using the shield, hammer on the shield. They talk about those, Hulk slamming, you know, Loki or whatever. But nobody really is like, oh, this story was that great, or this was whatever.
But nobody's saying the story is bad.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like the connection enhanced the movie is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it was a simple story, and then all that came together and made it a better movie.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to pretend like, you know, everybody coming together and crossing over isn't the appeal of the MCU. That's definitely part of it.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm thinking that's why it started slowly getting more praise, because a lot of people started to see, oh, now we can see our characters interacting with each other, and that was part of the appeal for a lot of people.
But on the flip side, we can't get a movie without any kind of crossover in there. Most of them are bad now. Guardians of the Galaxy didn't have any crossover, and it was 3. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 didn't have any crossover, and it was good.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, did Multiverse of Madness? I don't think it crossed over.
Somewhat. It was supposedly supposed to be a crossover between, like, you know, WandaVision,
right,
and whatever, but
that's Doctor Strange and Wanda too. Yeah. So yeah, just I think it's just not as good. They're just not. It's not as polished, is what I'm trying to say.
I guess my overall thinking is that, and maybe this is just because I like some movies more than others. I just feel like Marvel catches a lot of flack that it shouldn't catch. I'll say that.
Well, are you saying that you enjoy these new movies as much as you enjoy the older ones?
I would say I enjoy the newer content more than the older ones, yes. As far as like pre-Avengers, yes.
So, okay, and so I guess because the division is Endgame, so before Endgame and after Endgame. But if you want to, you know, obviously, I would say,
because I didn't enjoy everything before Endgame.
Yeah, no, I know that. But I think if you want to do percentages, I think percentage-wise, anything after Endgame is less of a hit than anything before Endgame.
Well, see, but that kind of leads into my overall point of, like, I feel like part of the reason why things after Endgame were less of a hit was because I felt like a lot of people, because Endgame was a culmination of everything before it. And so it's pretty much kind of like it was the end of a book. And so now they're starting another book, and everybody's expecting the new start of the book to be where the Endgame level ended. But it's not that. You still got to build up to it.
Which, I mean, obviously, you know, with them talking about Avengers 5 and 6, I mean, we all knew that it wasn't going to be like Avengers. And I don't think any of us really wanted just team up. I think the majority of us, sure, that was fine. But if you would have asked the normal person, I'm sure we all would have been like, we're fine with individual movies. Like let's like Shang-Chi. Like Shang-Chi was origin movie. And most people, for the most, obviously people had a problem with the end, but that's Marvel movies. So Shang-Chi was well
received.
Yes, thank you. And they didn't do that. But everything else was like, hey, let's just put WandaVision and Doctor Strange. And I mean, they did Black Panther, but everything else, Eternals was an origin movie, but that one was bad.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I hear what you're saying as far as like, and I'm not saying they all have to be Avengers after Endgame. What I'm saying is that like Endgame ended at this level, and everybody's like, oh man, that's such a great. But in all honesty, the only reason why Endgame was that great was because you watched all of these movies leading up to it. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like after Endgame, a lot of people expected Marvel to stay at this level. But so then when you come out with like a Moon Knight show, everybody's like, who is this guy? You got to give him time to cook.
So I'm not trying to invalidate, because like I said, I don't know who you talk to. I can't say, that anybody that you talk to was wrong or anything like that. But I would say, and I'm not talking to, I talk to you guys. But just the videos and stuff that I watch. I don't think anybody expected
maybe I shouldn't say quality, but like, because, maybe I should say quality, but like, because Endgame ended here so that everything was touching itself. So now it's like when stuff doesn't touch, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so that's different. So I was thinking, I was trying to figure out which way to go. So I didn't know if you were talking about quality or stakes, like epicness, or which way you were going.
That's kind of what I meant by quality as far as the epicness, because it's like, this ended because of all the stuff we've already seen. So it got to this epic level. But like after that, it was kind of like, okay, Endgame happened. So now it's like, well, certain stuff doesn't mention Endgame, or certain stuff doesn't revolve around, or doesn't talk about another character, or doesn't connect to this, or doesn't have some kind of thing that touches that. It's in other words, it's like, I guess what I'm saying is like, Endgame was the end of a vision, and now we're into a different vision. And because we're basically essentially back at Iron Man 1 level, a lot of people are struggling to accept that we're starting over, because it's kind of like, oh, we've already built this whole world of everybody knowing everything. So now we're back to this person not knowing anybody. So
everybody that, I've watched, I think we all knew that, Endgame was like the culmination. So it's like the what do they call it? The crescendo, not the crescendo. The climax, the climax of the MCU, and after the climax, you have to go downhill. So epicness, it was supposed to go back down because we're starting over. As far as quality, I don't think anybody expected or wanted the quality to drop. I'm just answering like all the different. So when you do have what's the name that you just Moon Knight, I think we all gave it a chance. We all didn't, and I don't think most people hated Moon Knight. Like, I think it was one of the okay shows. And we would have been fine, except I think the MCU turned into, and this is just my opinion, this is the way that I am interpreting everybody else's feelings, and they didn't say this, but it's the way that I'm rationalizing how everybody feels. I think the MCU turned into the DCEU, where it's like, all right, we got to get all this stuff crammed in to make this next epic movie, and we're going to sacrifice things along the way. So DCU, the DCEU was like, Marvel, the Avengers, they have this jump on us, but we need to get to our team up movie quick to capitalize on this. So we're gonna cram people into this movie as opposed to giving them origins, and that's kind of the way that I just see everybody seeing the post Endgame, even though they didn't say this is like the DCEU.
But they've been giving them origins though.
The shows, sure, yes, but as far as
Shang-Chi was an origin movie.
Yes, and what's the other one? The one I just said, Eternals.
That was an origin movie. They've been given origins.
But after that, I don't think like Riri Williams was shoehorned into Black Panther, and then they just sprinkled all these other things. And I'm not saying that they're making these movies bad, but when you're talking about the connectivity, I think that's the part where the MCU that's one of the along with quality, one of the things that they went wrong, did wrong.
I think what I'm saying as far as, because I get what you mean as far as like quality itself of a movie or a show. I think what I'm saying is part of what I think is bringing the quality down for some people is the connection, as well as them not wanting to pass the torch. A lot of people didn't like Hawkeye because Hawkeye was barely in it, because they're trying to pass the torch to the new Hawkeye.
And I think, and while I don't know if I disagree with the connectivity before, but what I was saying now about the DCEU, the Marvel mirroring the DCEU is kind of, corroborating what you're saying, is that, the connectivity is kind of bringing it down. I can agree to an extent on the pass the torch. Like, I personally don't have a problem with Kate Bishop. Jeremy Renner. I don't think he's ever said that he didn't want to do it anymore, but at the same time, I mean, Jeremy Renner has done other things. He's bred, so I can understand.
He's getting older.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to say. But I can understand if he wants to, not necessarily do this. So I'm fine with Kate Bishop. I'm fine with I'm fine with Riri Williams. I don't like the way that she was brought into the MCU.
Yeah, I can't really agree with that either.
And her suit looks super stupid. But I'm okay with just having I don't forget who the Young Avengers are, but you can have offshoots, you can have the Young Avengers and still have, here we go, because I'm out to trigger some people. Falcon, who's the new Captain America, had being on the original Avengers team.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like the new Captain America either.
Which is the trailer looks amazing. I think people need to set aside,
but back before the show, they didn't.
Yeah, I can. To me, that was the most consistent show. As far as good, bad, quality, whatever, it was very consistent. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It was a good show. I just say it wasn't good, but I thought it was a good show. But the Brave New World trailer, I think, looks amazing. It looks like it's more, even though he's flying through, he's Falcon, so he's gonna be flying. But to me, it gives me Winter Soldier vibes, and I can be completely wrong when the movie releases. But I think it's good. It looks like it's going to be a good movie. I would say that I have high expectations for it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think Marvel shot itself in the foot with the connection. I was about to cuss with the connection and stuff, because it's because then when you bring in, because I think when you bring in new characters, you give them origins like Shang-Chi and She-Hulk and all that. It's kind of like you expect them to just come in, because it feels like, you're introducing a new person, so are we to expect them to just be thrown into the Avengers now, or do we expect them to just jump in with everybody else, as opposed to just let them. Yeah, just let them come in and see what they got first before you just. Now, to your point, if the show comes out, movie comes out, and the movie is just trash, movie is just horrible, I get that. Bad story, bad acting, whatever. I'm all with that. But I think a lot of people, they have these expectations because of what Marvel has already done,
right? Or
where Marvel was already at before bringing in these new people. So it's kind of like, what is this? And
I guess you're saying that we should probably just enjoy it for what it is.
Well, at least, not necessarily for what it is, but at least let it play out before you judge it. Like I said, that's what I said. It's two separate things. On this side, it's at least let the vision play out before you whatever. As opposed to if the movie itself is just generally a bad movie, a bad show, that's a different situation. I'm all for if you don't like it, you don't like it. But at the same time, it's also kind of because I feel like some Marvel fans are because I'm a Marvel fan, I have to like everything.
Right.
It's kind of some stuff just ain't gonna be for you. Right. Kamala Khan.
Yep.
She ain't for everybody. It just is what. Because you gotta say to yourself, right now, the current Avengers, or before or whatever, did you like every Avenger?
No, there were some people that I could have dealt without.
But that's what I'm saying. Like what you have, I'm saying you accepted them.
Yeah,
you let them rock.
And like,
that's all I'm saying, man.
And I would say, just obviously not everybody that watches the MCU reads comic books, but there are people who, don't read certain comic books because it just doesn't interest them. So, like we said before, if you just don't care for a character like Kamala Khan, then don't watch it.
Yeah, because I can see it. Because like at the end of the day, like I already have my thoughts about watching shows that are meant for like younger crowds. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right. Some of the jokes, I'm like, okay, all right. She missed science test. Okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really care about that type of stuff. But like, I liked her as a character, so I was cool with it.
Which is why I think ultimately I didn't think the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, the first two, were great, because they kind of had some kind of appeal that wasn't necessarily for me. So I remember when he was on the school bus, and I think the drone he was like trying to do something with the drone, and I was like, this is a little too campy. Like this isn't.
So the one we had the glasses.
Yeah, and like the drone was like about to kill somebody. Yeah. I'm like, this is stupid, but I can understand a kid, a kid liking something like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. I try to, in my mind at least, I try to separate the two. Like there is what the character does in the movie, because he is still young, so he's gonna do young stuff. But like there is, on the other end, is like, how do I feel about him as the character itself? Like, is he a good Spider-Man? Mm-hmm. Does he have good qualities? Yeah, I like it. Now, do I agree with him? Going to buy the necklace and then being nervous about. I don't care about all that.
Right.
That's just, I don't care. So just give it a necklace, man. I don't want.
I do want to say that I approach whatever movie from not an art standpoint, because I don't make movies. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to pretend like I know what a movie should be, but I feel like there are obvious. I know what works for me and what seems to work for people in general, and if things. So when I watch MCU movies, I'm not, necessarily watching them and comparing them to like other good MCU movies. I approach them from just movies in general.
Right.
So pacing, dialogue, acting, lots of things go into that. And while I'm not sitting here thinking, just like the Hugh Jackman, I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody. That's not the way I want to come across. But when people were in a theater and the Hugh Jackman acted thing, I don't think anybody was in a movie like looking for the acting.
Yeah.
And I wasn't actively looking for the acting, but once I saw how good his acting was, I was like, that's darn good.
I think to a certain extent they do is just look at it differently. Mm-hmm. So like, because you watch our movies, you notice acting and you notice if it's done well or not. I think for some people they do it without thinking about it. Mm-hmm. So it's more so like when they see a scene like that, if they feel like they agree with that character or they can relate, like, oh man, I feel that moment. Yeah. To them, that's them accepting he's acting. They just don't classify it as, oh man, he was acting, butt off it, But for you more so like people like, oh, wait, Oscar. Mm-hmm. I get it.
And of course, he's not going to get an Oscar for that, but
mostly, well, unless you're Joker, but that's a whole other.
and it was because of Joker, The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've also had this thought too, and it has nothing to do with Marvel, it's just movies in general. Like, I feel like, let me ask you this question: do you feel like the more you know about the movie process, or like the movie making, or like the more you just know about movies in general, does that affect how you can enjoy a movie?
That and talking to people. Because sometimes what I think shouldn't happen or something that was a bad movie decision. Somebody's like, who cares? Like it's it's so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it hasn't been a while, but like a camera angle. Sometimes when I was about to talk about long legs, eventually I want to talk about long legs, but there was a point where I'm scared movies in general. Let me come back to them. So the one that I really hate is when people blur the background so they don't have to spend a lot of money on budget. So that one is a really big pet peeve of mine, and most people like the action's cool. Like, yeah, but it's lazy. It's so that one in particular, that's a good example.
I think because I feel like I am people that you're talking about, and I think the reason why I look at it that way is like, oh man, that was cool action, because I'm the type of person to where like, and I've said this before, if I'm invested in the story, like if you tell it, and the story doesn't have to be complex, it could be a simple revenge story, but if I believe the characters, if I'm into the story, I will let a lot of stuff pass. Like I don't, I like Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. I know you can't drive a car off the bridge to catch a hook on a rope, but am I enjoying it? Do it. Mm-hmm. Do I think The Rock could kick a missile with his foot and push it away? No.
Right.
But I'm invested into the story to the point to where like they did it. I don't care.
And I'm not going to say like just having, because there are times where it benefits the movie. So the Batman, I'm not going to say like the Batman is a completely visible movie. Like there are times where, and you know, Ryan George, the person that does pitch meetings, you know, had talked about how Batman movies seem to get darker and darker and darker to the point that he joked and said, you know what, one day we'll just have a black screen and we'll just save a whole bunch of money.
I can see that, honestly.
Yeah.
Just have a gravelly voice in the dark. I am the dark.
Right. Game of Thrones did, you know.
Yeah, like, we're not going to. I'm still, we ain't got to go there, Jay.
Okay, all right. But
since you mentioned it, the one thing I know a lot of people don't like the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But the ultimate thing that pissed me off about Game of Thrones, the final season, was the battle with the White Walkers. And how you couldn't see half of it. And the fact that it ended so quick.
That's the perfect example of doing behind the scenes movie things that did a movie wrong or show wrong.
It's like,
so when I see, you know, Black Adam and they have this fake temple stuff behind them, or you know, what's the girl Harley Quinn, the movie Birds of Prey. Mm-hmm. At the end when she was gonna go kill not Zaz, the other guy, Black Mask. I don't know his name.
I think it was Black Mask.
Black Mask. I don't know his real name. They use his real name.
Oh, was it Hugh McGregor?
Yeah, not okay. So Black Mask,
the character's real name.
Yeah,
I got you.
I can't think of his name. So at the end, you know, they were on the dock and it was just like fog everywhere. And so like that was pointless. They didn't need to have that. But the Batman with Robert Pattinson, like I was saying, like that one, it's some parts of the movie you can't see. It's kind of, but it enhances the movie. Yeah. That to me, that one worked.
Yeah, I just feel like. Because like when I watch a movie, like because the thing about me is like when I'm watching a movie, I'm wanting to just enjoy the movie. Mm-hmm. I try not to focus on like, you know, the way certain things are shot. Does this use a lot of CGI or whatever? Because even though it's not gonna take me out, it's kind of like I'll notice it. Especially like I said, but it all goes back to if I'm not invested, I'm gonna see those things more. Mm-hmm. Like Harry Potter, the first one, when he rides on the broom for the first time, that's obviously not Harry Potter. Yeah. It's obviously CGI. But I'm all in. So I'm like, oh man, Harry, you better not get on him. Like I know that's not him.
Yeah.
But you know, so it's like I don't know. I just feel like sometimes knowing too much can, I can say ruin it for you, but it can take you out because you're paying attention to certain things. Because I know we're different. Like when you watch a movie, you're watching the movie, but you're also analyzing at the same time. Yeah. Me, I watch the entire movie to see what they say, and then I look back and be like, I don't like that one part.
Which is, you know, as much as I don't really want to watch Deadpool Wolverine again, I think I might enjoy it more a second time, kind of like I did Multiverse of Madness. And you know, things may change. You know, I might now that nope, we don't talk about it again. So things may change.
You want to talk about Long Legs before we go?
Yeah. All right. So I know you didn't see it. I probably
won't ever see it.
I was gonna say, especially after what I said. So the movie Long Legs, it was a scary movie. It's kind of you would think it's a scary movie. To me, it's one of those. It's not a scary movie, and I know that's coming from somebody who doesn't think the movies are scary, but it's not like monsters or possessed.
I said I think it's like a serial killer type.
Yeah, thank you. Like it's not a slasher though, so it's kind of hard to categorize a movie.
So it's not like Prom Night.
No, yeah.
Guy coming out of the closet.
Oh, you too? It's the same thing. The whole movie.
Now that, I don't not like a lot of movies, but that one was like, all right.
It was. I'm not gonna even say it had potential. But I thought it was gonna be fun.
No.
So Longlegs. First of all, I just want to say that I did not realize that Longlegs is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I know that.
That was like when I saw Dan Merle review the movie after. I was like, holy crap! Because like his face is
So while watching the movie, you didn't know?
No, because
wow.
like you can even like let's just say that the movie was real and Longlegs came in here. It looks like he probably had something done to his face.
Wow.
So it's on top of just having prosthetics. It's just like you can't see it, and the acting like even so after the fact when I heard it was Nicolas Cage, I was like that's kind of on brand for Nick Cage because he's kind of perceived as crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm not surprised. So the movie did not scare me, but I regret going to see the movie. And there are, I watch possession movies. There are, kind of images, inverted crosses. There are, Baphomets. There's devils. There's all these kind of things in movies that usually does not affect me. But specifically this movie, I remember, so the woman, I don't have to tell the backstory or anything if you do decide to watch the movie. But the woman, she goes to her childhood home and she's trying to piece things together. And she picks up a picture. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying go ahead. Okay.
She picks up a picture and when she looks at it, she jumps back. And like when she looks at the picture, there are a series of images that flash across the screen. And it was done for like a jump scare kind of thing, which, I don't really care for jump scares that like that because they're not natural. They're like, hey, anyway. But the images, the way that they were like quickly flashed across the screen, I didn't like that because I didn't want them like seared into my mind. So upside down pentagram or the Baphomet. I don't know if you all know who Baphomet is, but there's one like where he's like sitting and he has like one of his fingers up, like things like that. I don't want to stick with me, and I feel like that movie, even like right now, like I see the images because I know the images, but I was afraid that once I left the theater that they were going to stick with me, yeah. So that's why I didn't. That one little scene probably lasted less than a second or two. But as far as the movie, it is slow paced. It's one of those, I'm gonna say artsy fartsy movies, but it's the movie would be considered boring by some. It was fun. I wouldn't watch it again, but just for that one part, I'm definitely not watching it again.
Interesting.
Yeah. I do have to say that I did miss 15 minutes of it though.
At the beginning?
I actually made it to the beginning, but something happened, and I drove away. But then there was a false alarm, so I came back. Allergies, for work.
And that I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, would you rather?
Okay.
I just thought about this after you was talking about the. Would you rather only see a movie one time? Like once you watch that movie for the rest of your life, you'll watch a movie, you can't watch it again. Or would you want to only hear a song once for the rest of your life? So you can hear new songs, but once you hear it, you can never hear it again.
I would say, which is tough. All right, so I got reasons for both.
Mm-hmm.
So music, I'm not big on music, especially new music, which would limit the category.
The songs you listen to.
Exactly. So all the old songs that I would listen to, as soon as I hear them once, they're gone. And then I have to listen to the new stuff. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that new stuff doesn't necessarily come out every day. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it wouldn't hurt because I'm fine with George driving and not listen. But I love movies so much, so I don't want to watch just a movie.
Especially if it's a movie that you really love, like the Batman that you watched 4 times.
Exactly, or Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
So then eventually I'm going to run out of stuff, and then I'm going to have to go to old movies, which I'm going to. So let me ask you this: if I fall asleep on a movie, does that count? Does it get this?
Okay, I'll give you a pass. You have to watch it to completion.
Okay. Well, I can. What's the word? No, because if it's my first time watching it, then I would want to see it through all the way through. So I was gonna say I can cheat and just like fall asleep and not watch, the whole thing.
But how often are you gonna try to just separate a movie out? It's I'm gonna just watch these 30 minutes and then come back and watch another 30 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So ultimate, what's my answer? What is my answer? I'm gonna go with music because I can sit in the car and not listen to music.
Yeah, I'll take that.
What about you?
I take movies. I'm cool watching a movie once because most of the movies that I've watched nowadays, like once I watched it at one time, I don't have a lot of movies that I've rewatched like that, unless I don't have cable, it was just on or something, or somebody else wants to watch it and I watch it with them. But I don't have a lot of movies where I just watch often.
You know what? And I'm thinking I'm starting to understand why. It's because we're adults and we have less, not free time, but when you're younger, you don't really have as many responsibilities. So you go to school and you come home and you pretty much can do whatever the heck you want. And sure, that's the same thing with an adult, but you also have like other things you have to do. So you have girlfriends, you have to, you have all, and then you just end up tired, and then you don't want to do anything. Yeah. So for somehow, I know we all go through this, but somehow, you just end up with not a lot of time in a day. And I don't know how that happens because, as you can see, when I just tried to name all the things that can take up your time, I couldn't name a lot. So,
speaking of falling asleep, I've started watching Godzilla.
-1?
Yeah, no, the new Empire one.
Yep.
I fell asleep on it. Not because the movie wasn't good. I was enjoying the movie. It was a combination of it was already kind of late, and then two, because I was watching it on Max, and it kept doing this thing where it get to a scene and the little buffer sign would come up, and it just kept replaying the scene. It'll buffer. They were like, "Oh yeah, man, we gotta go check on Godzilla." Buffer. Yo, yeah, man, we gotta go. I was like, "Why is this doing this?" I had to fast forward a few seconds. Then it just kept doing it. I was like,
I think part of it is, Max, and part of it is probably, cable internet because
I don't know.
But Max, I've learned recently when you try to cut some. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Back when they did the BR, the sports.
Oh yeah.
Because it was free for everybody, and once they added that, as soon as I would click on anything, it would take a long time for it to load and come in. So I think they got some stuff going on.
Well, see, I would be fine with if it was just pausing and I had to wait for it to load, but with it going back to the same scene, that got annoying quick. Yeah. I almost didn't want to keep watching the movie because I probably got 30, 40 minutes in before it started doing it. I was like, the movie just started.
Yeah. I don't know if he got to the point where he found. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
The last thing I remember seeing was black dude. They went down to the Middle Earth. Mm-hmm. The pilot got killed, and then they just showed up at the little
the building.
Yeah, they saw it was destroyed, and they saw the hand on the wall, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta leave." That's the last thing I vividly remember.
All right, so they didn't exactly make it to the further.
No, Kong did.
Okay.
I saw that.
Yeah,
because he fought the little Kong, and the other one he beat them up, and then which is stupid because he was like he fought the little Kong. The little Kong clearly tried to kill him, tried to stab him. He was like, "Hey, take me where they at." All right, I'll show you. Cool, I'll follow you. And he was like, "Hey, get in that water, Kong. Did water? I get in the water."
Trap. But I still need you to take me where I need to go.
Like, what?
I mean, Kyle, it's just, he I can handle anything you throw at me.
I guess so. So yeah, I saw that part, but I didn't see him actually meet anybody else outside of that. No, and then because I take that back because I didn't see him meet anybody, but I saw them meet the other people because I remember they had the little thing, and they was reading the thoughts and stuff, and
I don't remember that.
Because the little girl was like the last of the evil people, and so they met a whole village of them, And she was like, I can feel their thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they took her to like this one little special room where like I guess they were praying and talking to something, little orb thing or whatever. So yeah, I saw that.
Gotcha.
And I kind of checked out after that.
It gets fun now. All the fighting after that, it starts getting fun.
I mean, I was enjoying it up until that point. I mean, there were some things. Again, I'm not gonna say it was just great so far, but I was invested.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, I like this. Decisions that were made sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you know, so. Yep. Guess that's it.
Thank y'all for listening to watch.
Yeah, man. Listen to us ramble on and talk, you know, about Marvel and bicker. It's all good.
Well, that's what the whole dynamic. Well, I won't say that hasn't always been our dynamic, but you know, it's good. It's entertaining.
Yeah, it's good conversation.
Yeah. We didn't hit each other. I don't think we'd ever like have that kind of.
Nah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, like, and this is, I mean, we don't have to talk about this now, but that's another thought I had too. Was kind of like, I think, I don't say a lot of people, but I feel like the world now makes it seem like everybody has to agree,
right,
on everything. Like, I don't have to agree with you, but I feel like at least if you understand, like, I get where you're coming from, you get where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. Hey, I get it, makes sense. I don't agree with it, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
and you just leave it at that, as opposed to like, no, I'm gonna keep talking to you until you agree with what I agree.
I think that they're immature. They're just kids.
You can find me on Instagram at DA_Bear, BEAR29. Find the show on Instagram, TikTok. Big Show of it all.
You can find me on Instagram, HAPPEE, _, MILOS, and we have YouTube.
Yeah. The tube of the U. Mm-hmm. We got we'll have a conversation after it's over.
We're YouTubers.
You was thinking about that one, wasn't you?